Jeff Rash with Priefert Manufacturing. I'm here today with my good friend, Mr. Mike Ford from Rio Rojo Rancho. Mike is a deer breeder, has been in the deer business for about 8 years now, knows a lot of folks all around the country that's in the same business. They kind of run in a tight-knit group. And we're here today at Priefert Ranch to introduce a new product to you. And Mike, what is this? It looks like a freight train.
This is a Deer Chute system, very similar to what Priefert's built their name on, building the finest cattle equipment in the world to restrain an animal so that you can get on them and medicate them, vaccinate them. We do the same thing for the deer industry.
What's the traditional way? How did you used to work deer versus before a system like this?
You know, our handling of wild animals forever, whether it was at a zoo or on a ranch or a park ranger in Yellowstone Park, with a problem bear, is to sedate them, to hit them with a dart. There's several different dart companies that sell guns, they sell darts, you buy medicine from your veterinarian.
Sure.
We put them animals to sleep. But again, we're darting them from anywhere from 20 yards to 30, 40, 50 yards. And the amount of medicine that you're putting in that dart, you're guessing the weight of that animal. So you can put that amount of medicine in that dart and hope when it hits that it works. It's enough medicine to sedate that animal. A lot of times, even though we've hit that animal clean with a dart, it's not enough medicine in them to sedate them. So once they get a little woozy, you got to go up there and play Western cowboy again, get a hold of them and give them a little bump to truly put them down, to put them to sleep.
Is that
safe?
Protected. I mean, is that a safe process? Do you lose animals that way?
Absolutely, it can happen. In Tilazol and xylazine are the two medicines that predominantly all of our industry and all of the exotic wildlife industry does to sedate animals is xylazine and Tilazol. That mixture, depends on what quantities you're buying it in, is anywhere from $40 to some people have quoted me as high as $60 per animal.
Wow. Each
time you go to sedate one of them. So if you've got 100 animals and say it's $50 a pop, you spent $5,000 in just a little bit. And that's if every dart you fly hits correct and true and that animal goes down.
So if you hit one in the dirt, that's $40 or $50.
Well, we go times two.
Yeah.
Or times three until you hit that animal to get enough.
You're spending that money regardless.
Absolutely.
Okay. So basically, if you're working your animals twice a year, within a year or two, depending on the size of your operation, you basically can own all of this.
You could own it all, just on medicine alone, much less the stress that you're putting yourself in to get in a golf cart or a Polaris and go out on a branch and sit for an hour and waiting on a deer to give you the right angle, the right distance to be comfortable to shoot them with.
So you're saving time, you're saving money. It's safer for the animal, it's safer for the operator, and economically speaking, it's kind of a no-brainer. Simply for the fact that within a year or two, you're going to, pay for it. And the good thing about this system is it's modular. You don't have to buy all this entire train system. There's 4 different pieces we're going to talk about. This is actually an asset. This is something that you can buy and write off and depreciate. And not only that, if you ever decide to get out of the deer business or you move ranches or whatever.
Or sell your ranch and go develop another ranch.
You can take it with you.
It all pins in the Priefert pin technology.
Yeah, this entire system, in fact, literally was set up yesterday, and it took the guys about 15 minutes to hook the entire thing up.
Right.
I mean, it's literally pins together just like the rodeo panels that we use and the buck and shoots that we use for the PBR, the NFR, all that. Same exact technology went into this system. So I can take any of these 4 components, hook one to the other, literally in minutes.
In minutes.
So what's the concept here?
Well, the concepts are similar in that we got to get them out of the pasture and or our pens into an alley, no different than a sale barn alley that's moving animals from box to box. Once we get them loaded in the ramp, we just process them through. All these doors collapse in to push an animal forward.
So this basically works like a sweep would.
Absolutely, like a sweep.
Cattle system.
Collapsing them or sweeping them forward. The neat concept with Priefert's technologies is all of these boxes work from either side of the unit. We're working on this side of the unit because that's where our delivery says down there, but you can work this chute from either side.
So basically these are 2 gates on either side that allows me to go through, and they serve several functions. One, to push the animal and encourage her or him all the way through the system. So we've got the ramp box. It pins together to the next box in line, and this again is an optional box, right?
Yes,
you
sir.
don't have to have this particular box. This is called the scale box.
The scale box, and it's not so much about application of medicine. What we want to know is the exact weight on them animals for us to give medication. For instance, Draxxin, which is the wonder drug in the cattle, livestock industry, for the deer industry as well. A little bit goes a really long ways. The protocol on Draxxin is 1.1 cc's per 100 pounds. Well, if that deer weighs 80 pounds, and you're giving them the 1.1 anyway, you're giving them too much. The amount that it asks for will do the job. So that little bit of Draxxin you're wasting on the top, add that up at the end of the year and see which one of these pieces you can pay for. Astronomical.
Comes off the bottom
Likewise, if you think that animal weighs 100 pounds and it really weighs 135 and you only give it the 1.1 cc's for the 100 pounds, you've wasted the 1.1 cc's because you haven't given enough to doctor it because of its body weight. So there's a low end of not enough medication. There's a high end of too much medication. That pays for a true test scale in a heartbeat when you're talking about Draxxin.
So basically you've got load bars underneath the floor and the scale box system. If someone chooses, and again, they don't have to buy this all four systems.
No, sir.
They can buy the ramp straight into the chute. They can buy a ramp and AI. You know, this is for a guy that feels like that it's a good investment for him to be able to weigh his deer. I'm also noticing that you've got ports down the side of these. What are those for?
This is an access port. Two things here. We can look in here and see the number in an ear tag of an animal. That lets us identify what we need to do to that animal, especially during AI season. We need to know that animal's number prior to her getting the chute, so we can start thawing the semen and getting everything prepped for that one particular deer.
And I noticed you have a storage box.
This is just a storage box. If you've got medication, if you've got syringes, if you've got needles you're not using, extra tags, anything that applies to the deer, you got a place to put it here. Again, we're off the floor because of the scale system and the ramp getting us to that drop chute. So instead of just wasting a dead space, we made a box out of it to, if somebody wants to lock it, they can.
A lot of folks are going to have these sitting on concrete anyway in their barns, and so that's just...
You got a concrete floor in the bottom of it.
Good. So that's the scale box. Let's move forward to the AI box. Now this one's it mirrors the scale box a little bit, but this is a very important box.
This is a different critter here. It lets us, again, get completely inside the box. If we're going to AI an animal, this floor flips. This is giving the AI technician access. They sit right here. This is a kick plate. Those animals' lower extremities are right here in front of you, and the AI technician and or your vet can do all their work right here.
Okay, well let's move up to the chute. Okay. This is kind of the most important piece of the entire outfit right here. So you've walked them all the way through the process, however many sections you own. We've invited the animal in the chute.
This lever loads the floor. This lever releases the floor. Okay. Once they're in there, we're going to shut that door. We release the floor, get this access door up open, and stabilize that animal.
You're right on top of it.
You're right on top of that animal.
You're ready to give injections, work on anything that may be wrong with that animal.
Something else that Priefert has brought to the table with your technologies of the squeeze chute industry, you have a drop plate.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is important, especially when you're working cattle, because you want to be able to work on mastitis or foot rot. Those things are real common. Is that common with deer as well?
Absolutely. They're the same critters as cattle. They just look a little bit different. They both have a 4-part rumenoid stomach, so the diseases we deal with are the same. They get foundered in the spring just like cattle do, horses do. Lots of green clovers coming up in the ground with the high protein diet that we are giving these animals.
So basically being able to get to their feet.
Get to their feet, access their feet is very important.
So that's just a little drop panel.
Drop panel right there.
Again, it's got slam latches. Basically the floor slam latches. I noticed we've got a nice little tabletop here on both sides. So we've got not only for leverage, you know, getting on top of it, but we also have a tabletop.
You can lay something there. If you got 2 syringes you're giving an animal, you can lay one down, get to the other one. Okay.
So what's the next step?
We're going to release her. This chute's designed to release 2 different ways. One is with the door. We unload that door and it trips a lever that whole chute will unload that cradle. That deer slides down to the floor, gets their feet back, out the door they go. And when we release that cradle, and you can watch it, that cradle just softly releases. It don't bang. So a fawn isn't going to release it any more than that. They're just going to slide down. A doe's going to push it a little bit more because of her body weight. She's bigger space there. And even a buck's going to release it a little bit more because his body weight and how big he is going to open that cradle.
So it's regulated.
It's regulated by their weight, literally, and their size to let them slide down.
Is this a one-size-fits-all deal? I mean, it seems like an opening big enough to let a buck go down in there will just swallow a fawn.
Swallow a fawn. Yeah. That is a great question. We have 2 settings. And all we've done is change the width of that cradle. You can do it with your foot. let's just act like we've just released a deer. Now we're ready to load the deer. The cradle, first click is for big deer, second click is for small deer, and it took us, with our foot, less than 1 second to take that from a 30-pound animal to a 300-pound animal. The latch that unloads it trips and unloads it off of either one. Or with your foot, it will release it with either one.
And then to reload, just slam that.
Let's reload the
lower
cradle.
the drawer.
Reload the cradle.
Okay.
We're gonna reload the cradle. We're gonna pull the floor up, and we're gonna lock the floor. We're gonna get another animal. You get
go
that
through the
animal
same
loaded,
thing.
drop the floor, access the door. Whoa, Nelly.
So you're talking about just seconds of work.
This chute is designed to work all the deer that you can put in it, one step at a time.
Super. If you're a deer operator and you've got an operation anything like what you have, whether you've got 20, 30, 50, or 500 deer, this is a system that you need to take a closer look at. Basically, it saves time, it saves money, it increases productivity. It's much safer for the animal and the operator all the way around. And the best part is, the thing that sticks out to me is this is an asset. This is something that you can buy, you can use it, you can sell it, you can move it to another ranch.
Take it with you to a new ranch and develop it.
So economically speaking, I think it really is something that deer breeders ought to take at least a closer look at. And if you want to do that and you want more detail, please log on to www.deerchute.com. and there'll be all the details, a video for you to watch. Feel free to give him a call and he'll be able to answer any other questions you have about the Deer Chute. And Mike, thanks for your time today.
You too, Jeff.
Appreciate
You
the
too.
education.
You too.
And log on to www.deerchute.com.